Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful framework for getting your entire team on the same page, and it's all based on the work of Patty Beach.
Okay, let's dive right in. Come on, we have all been there, right? You're in a meeting that feels like a maze with no exit. Great ideas are getting tossed around, but they just get lost, and no actual decisions ever seem to get made. It's frustrating. These frustrations, they're all just signs of misalignment. When a discussion goes around and around and around, it's not just a waste of time, It's a symptom that the whole process is broken. But what if there was a simple, structured way to turn all that chaos into real clarity and commitment? So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start by outlining the 4 core steps to get aligned. Then, we're going to do a deep dive into what is honestly the most critical part of this whole framework, the probe step. That's the art of giving and receiving feedback.
The art of alignment is this really straightforward 4-step journey. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's a super practical roadmap for turning ideas into actual action. So let's see what those steps are. So the process, it looks deceptively simple, right? You propose an idea, you probe for feedback, you repropose a stronger version, and then you close with really clear commitments. This 4-step loop, this is your path out of meeting misery. Let's break down how it actually works.
The first step, propose, is all about just putting an idea on the table. And here is the absolute key. It does not have to be some final, polished plan. Seriously, think of it like a rough draft, a starting point that's just designed to spark a discussion.
And this quote, it just nails the mindset here. By encouraging a rough draft, you make it way safer for everyone to share their initial thoughts. This invites more people into the conversation and, it leads to a much richer group outcome because the goal isn't perfection, it's participation.
Okay, this brings us to the most critical stage of the whole process, the probe. Now, this isn't just a free-for-all where everyone shouts out their comments. It is a very structured way to gather feedback, using a simple sequence known as the 5 C's. This is where you really start to co-create something special.
So what makes this work so well? It's the sequence. Following these 5 steps in order is absolutely essential. It forces the group to build a shared understanding before anyone jumps to judgment, and that creates a much safer environment for honest feedback. Let's break them down one by one.
So first up, we have clarifications. Before anyone can even have an opinion on an idea, everyone in the room needs to be on the exact same page about what the idea actually is. This step is huge because it prevents misunderstandings from derailing the entire conversation later on.
And just a simple shift in language makes all the difference here. If you ask a closed question like, "Any questions?" you almost always get silence. Crickets. But if you ask an open-ended question like, "What questions do you have?" well, that actively invites people to engage and get the clarity they need. Next up, compliments. Now, I know this might seem kind of small, but it is incredibly powerful. Starting with what's working sets a positive tone, and it makes people way more open to sharing and hearing constructive feedback later. You're literally building a foundation of trust. Okay, now you can dig into concerns and suggested changes. Because you've already established that clarity and a positive tone, this phase becomes a true co-creation session. It's not about attacking the idea anymore. It's about using the group's collective wisdom to make it stronger.
So the final C is a quick commitment test. You ask everyone to rate their level of commitment to the original proposal on a scale of 1 to 5. And this isn't a final vote, it's just a quick temperature read on the room.
So what happens when someone holds up a 1 or a 2? This isn't failure. It's actually invaluable data. A low number is a quiet signal that there's a serious reservation that still hasn't been voiced out loud.
And this is the true power of the commitment test. It provides a safety net for the quieter team members, or maybe for those who just don't feel comfortable speaking up, to signal their reservations without having to interrupt. It ensures that all voices are truly heard, not just the loudest ones.
Okay, so after that whole probe step, you've gathered all this rich, amazing feedback, and now you move to the final 2 steps, repropose and close. This is where you turn all that great discussion into a concrete decision.
And the repros isn't just a slightly edited version of the first idea. It's a transformation. The idea has shifted from being my idea to our idea. And because it incorporates the whole group's feedback, it now has genuine group ownership, which makes it far more resilient.
And finally, you close. This isn't just getting a yes or a bunch of head nods. It's about making sure everyone is crystal clear on the next steps. Who is going to do what and by when? This is what creates accountability and turns a decision into real, tangible momentum.
So, what's the big payoff for all this? Well, this process transforms those frustrating circular meetings into these powerful engines for collaboration. The result is better decisions, stronger teams, and most importantly, real action after everyone leaves the room.
So, the next time you're in a meeting that's just going nowhere, you don't have to sit there and just hope for the best. You now have a practical, step-by-step framework to guide your team to a decision that everyone can actually truly commit to. The only question left is, what will you build with it?